Hi there. Today I'm going to try to use this Docker command cheat sheet by FOSS Techniques and try to remember some of the Docker commands that I used a few years ago. Let me test my knowledge. Alright, I have a fresh DigitalOcean droplet been running since 32 minutes now. We're going to install Docker into this one. Docker install sh. So this is the command I usually use to install the Docker. So for this, let's just copy this and run. So this is the bash script for installation of the Docker. It's going to take a couple of minutes and it's going to give us a fresh install of Docker. Yep. So it is installed now. Let's check the version. Docker version, yes, 28.4. So we'll just take this as a reference and try to start learning Docker. Alright, we used Docker version, so let's test Docker. So Docker is going to give us everything from let me just resize this like this. So if I type Docker, it's going to give us these commands, which are a self-sufficient runtime for containers. So some of the Docker commands are run, exe, ps, build, bake, pull. Oh, the bake, I don't know this one. Let me try this one out. And there are management commands, and then there is other swarm command, commands to do a lot of stuff. So we are going to use this cheat sheet. Okay, Docker info. Let's see what does Docker info give. So Docker info gives information about the Docker itself. So it's a Docker engine and the community version, not the pro version. So it's 28.4 version, and there are plugins of BuildX and model Docker runner, and currently there are no containers running in this Docker server, and there are no pause, no stop, and there are no images, and everything is freshly installed. And also the volume will be installed in this local directory. And let's see what else is there. Okay, it's Linux and CPU 1, and I got around 2 GB of RAM, and it's a Debian, and the Docker root is here. So all the Docker information will be in this folder. So Docker var lib and Docker. If you go here, all of this is Docker related stuff. So volume will be present here, and the images will be here, and the swamps will be here, and the containers will be here. So now let's check Docker pull. So before we do Docker pull, maybe we'll need to go to Docker Hub, and this is where millions of, or maybe hundreds of thousands of Docker containers are available. So to pull any Docker image, we can pull something like let me go back to the home directory. Alright, also it is recommended that you can delete this after we install Docker sh. Also this is only for testing purpose, so I'm just using the root login, but you can disable the root and create a new user, like for example add user demo, and you can put some password, and you can add user mod -ag sudo and then demo. It's user mod. Right, now we can do su and demo. Now I'm in demo user, so let's see whether Docker works. Docker info, yes, and Docker version, yes, it works. But if you use sudo docker version and put your password, it gives you all of other stuff. Also, we can pull image. Let's imagine Docker pull hello world. It won't allow you, but now if we put sudo, it's going to pull. This will be the first image that has been pulled, and that can be checked by Docker images. So again, it won't give you. So every time I can do Docker images. Yep. So also there is a command to do docker sudo always. So if we go to post installation steps, we done this. At some area. Alright, let's get out of demo and go to root. So now Docker images, yes. So now we can use this cheat sheet. So we done Docker pull. So similarly we can do Docker pull Debian latest. So now we can check Docker images. So we got two images now. The next command is Docker build. So for Docker build we need a Docker file, so we'll do it later. Let's do the basic commands. So the Docker run, so we have Docker images, so let's see Docker run hello world. Yes, this is the hello world which is run here. So let's check Docker ps. So the Docker commit will do it later. Docker ps list all the running containers and add -a flag to list all the containers. So now there is no running containers, but we can put -a and it'll tell us that okay, hello world was just pulled and it ran and then it existed because we just used Docker run hello world instead of Docker run hello world. If we do docker -it, it ran, and if we now just again docker ps -a, it ran twice. So now we can do docker a -i td, that is in daemon mode. So now it is given a hash, and now let's see docker ps. Okay, docker ps -a. So now we got 3 times hello world ran, and then let's run docker images. Okay, docker run -it -d Okay, Debian, we can use Debian, or I like to use 61D, the first three numbers of image ID, Docker run ID. So yes, now let's see Docker PS. Okay, so it's running. So this is the, the Debian latest 61D. So we can also do something like this: Docker run minus minus name. I can say my Debian, and then I can say this, and it is going to show Docker PS. So with my name, with my Debian, so at 0CF container ID, but it's the same image, so it's the same image of Debian, this one and this one. So there are two containers running from one images. Alright, let's take the next one. Let's try to stop this running container Docker PS. So let's stop Docker stop. We can use the name, the ID. So let me use this Debian, my Debian. Alright, come on. Alright, so now if you use Docker PS, so my Debian container is stopped. So now let's stop Docker stop the agitated Godbasa using container ID BD4. You can also put all the numbers like this, or you can copy paste that one. The best option would be to first use the first three numbers or the characters. It's gonna take a while. So we finished PS Docker start, Docker stop. Oh, we use stop, but we're not started. So we'll start a container. Let's Docker PS. It's not there, but if you do Docker PS, so these are all the containers. We just stop them, or they existed. So we can use Docker start. Let's start my Debian, and then let's also start BD4, and then let's start this E16, even though it is not going to run. So we can start more than one like this, and then let me clear Docker PS. Yes, my Debian is running and BD4 is also running. So we done start, stop. Let's check logs. So Docker log is used to check the logs for a container. So let's take this container, that is my Debian. So Docker logs OCF or my Debian. What's happening? Oh, it's for the, is it OCF? Docker logs, not OCF, it is 0CF. Okay, Docker log. We'll see for BD4. Why is it not working? Okay, minus F. Okay, we'll come back later. So we can use docker rename for the docker ps docker rename my Debian to your Debian. Docker ps is what to it Debian. Docker rename bd4 to latest Debian docker ps. Yes, that's how you rename the thing. Okay, docker ps. So docker rm is used to remove the container, but first you need to stop the container. So to stop it, we need to docker stop your Debian. It'll stop in a while. So let's check, it's gone, and then we can go to PSA. So your Debian is here. So to remove docker rm, we can say your Debian, and then that is gone. Docker ps -a. So your Debian is gone. We can also remove latest Debian, that is then E16 EB9. We can also remove 44, right? So we're going to remove everything. EB9, E16 EB9. Okay, docker ps docker ps -a. Right, docker ps bd4. You need to first you need to stop it. Let's bd4, it won't do, but if you do -f, it is be removed. So it's going to first stop, and then it is going to remove it. Alright, so there is one more guy who's present, that is silly beaver. Docker rm 6b9 is docker ps. So we don't have any running containers or stop containers. Okay, that's how you run, pull, or come, and then list start stop blocks and rename and remove. Okay, so we can do some lifecycle commands now. Let's see. So for the lifecycle commands, we can create a new docker. We can do it later. Docker run, we done it. Docker pass, let's check docker run -it -t. What do I use? Node.js latest. Okay, let's just Node.js. Alright, let's use Alpine. Okay, so if we check the images, Alpine is one of the smallest Linux out there, 8 MB. So docker ps Alpine is running. Okay, so we ran. We can also pause. So the running Alpine can be paused like docker pause aad. Now it's paused. Docker ps, yeah, but it's still running, but it's paused. But if you see docker ps -a, you'll also see it's paused. Okay, docker ps. So now how do we docker unpause aad, that is the Alpine. So now it's unpaused, and if we say docker ps, now it's running 1 minute ago. Okay, so we know how to do docker stop, we know how to docker start. We can also do docker restart, like for example docker ps and docker stop aad. Yes, so docker ps, yeah, this is stop now, so we can restart using restart command. So now if we go docker ps, it's back 2 seconds ago. It was created a minute ago, but now we just restarted it 2 seconds ago. Okay, docker attach we'll do later. Docker wait can also be used, so it'll block until one or more containers stops, then print their exit. So like for example, we'll use it later. Docker wait ad is gonna wait till we do something. So let's stop it. Docker ps, it's there, and then docker rm. So we done this. So before docker rm, let's also kill it, so it's not like a descent stop and then remove. The kill is it stops and remove directly. You may lose some docker data. Docker kill aad. Okay, docker ps, everything is gone. psa, it's still there. If you want, you can remove it. Alright, then let's take some commands for docker image commands. So till now we've seen docker containers, so let's use docker images. So we've done docker pull, so we can pull anything from the docker hub. Right, like for example, we can pull maybe a latest Python. So we can pull anything. Let's take the tag. So this is the latest Trixie one. So docker pull Trixie. If you want, you can pull the oldest image as well. That is 2.73 docker image for I'm doing it again. Let's copy this one. Let's see, 2.79. Okay, now if you go to Docker images, so we have Python 2.9. Where did Docker pull 2.79? Let's see whether it's coming. It has been removed because it's very old. Okay, so we don't need that. So you can go to Docker Hub and pull whatever the image that you want. Alright, so now Docker images. So we have a tag latest and hello latest and latest Alpine. We can use Docker tag to add your own tag. Docker tag, let's use 923 to my Alpine. Let's see whether it works. Yes, Docker images. How do we use this? Yes, we used Alpine to my Alpine. So, but I think we can't change this one, I believe. But you can rename your Docker images. So that's the Docker tag. So if you're in doubt, then you can say Docker tag help and then says create a tag. So target image that post the source image. So you can use Docker tag source image. So we use source image, then the tag and the target image and the tag. Okay, let's use that. The source image 923 is latest 923 my latest. Okay, maybe I don't know this. Let's check. Okay, we can also look at the history of Docker image, which is Docker history of 923. So it's one of the smallest Linux, so it has got only two layers. That is, the first layer is binSS, and then it has got another layer of Alpine. So if you use the same thing for the 61D, which is the Debian, you will see this one. And if you use it for 56C, that is the Python, so you will see a lot of information. So 7 weeks ago, so that was run CMD, env, Python version, GPGs. These are all the layers. Let's also look at inspect to show complete information in JSON format. So let's look at the images. So we'll use Docker inspect 923. Yes, it's going to give us a whole lot of information related to this image. So the ID is 923. So this is the I don't know, maybe 40 character SHA-256. So we'll only get only maybe 3, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 from this long SHA. And the tags, so the same image has got two tags now. So there's one Alpine tag and then the my Alpine latest tag. So the build kit is this, then the drivers are here, the size is here. Some of the important things are the ANME path and the user volume, because you have not attached anything. So similarly we can look for okay, Docker inspect. Let's see for Python. Maybe I think I need to use full like this, or image ID. Yes. So for Python, this is all the information related to that particular container in JSON format. Okay, we done inspect. How do we save this image? Let's imagine I want to save Docker save 61D. Coverly is refusing to use terminal. Use -o. What do I do? -o to, I don't know. Let's see. Yes. Alright, so it is saved in my this thing. Let's see. Okay, it's 120 MB. So similarly, if you use Docker save 56C -o, my saved Python. Okay, ls -la. Alright, LAH, it's around 100 and same because we just changed it. Okay, similarly create Docker image from a tarball import. So we don't have a tarball now. Docker export, let's imagine, was that a tar? No. Let's imagine, let's see, let's export one of the Docker images. Docker export 923. Then to do exported Alpine 923. Oh, it's only for the containers. Okay. Is it only for containers? Let's see. Docker PS. Alright. 923. Let's use it for. We already done one save. Okay, it's not working. So Docker run Alpine Docker PS. Okay, let's export this. Docker export -o export Alpine. Docker export container. Oh, 66. We need to put a container name. No such container. Okay, we don't need to put the name, just need to Docker export container. A6619. What is this? So it's container export, docker export. Okay, write to a file instead of std out. Export, I think maybe it needs to be here. A66 minus O exported. Yes. So now if you see, I think this is the tar file. Okay. To load from an archive, let's import it. Let's see. Docker import. Okay, it's Docker import option. File the URL and the repository. Okay, Docker import exported, and then another dash latest. Okay, Docker ps. So if we see Docker images, there has to be another. Okay, we have exported and then we have imported. Can we to load Docker image from files or archives? Let's see. So Docker load sd. Alright, let Docker load help. Okay, we can use input and quiet minus I is the one, then sd. Yes, it loaded. So it's 61D. So it's 61D. This is the one. This is 37 hours ago. Docker ps. Okay. Let's check this later on. Okay. This is the easiest one. That is Docker images, Docker RMI. Remove the image. We can use the names, or so that's gone. Or we can use the image ID, that is 1B4 923. One cannot be because it has been used. So this is being used, so that is not going to be removed. That is, so we can remove Python, which is 56C. So that's deleted. Now if you go to Docker images, still Debian is there, 61D. That's gone. And then 923 is there. So we can delete this as well. Even though it's running, we just need to put -f a66. ps Docker images, Docker RMI. Okay, we need to cannot be paused. Okay, so we'll have to stop it. ASIC6. Then delete. Okay, the image is gone, PS is gone, PS minus A is still there. Okay, we'll sort them out later. Okay, so then we have Docker Compose is a different one. I think Docker Compose is not installed. Yeah, it's installed, but we don't have any Docker Compose images. We'll do them later. Okay, let's look at so we done containers, we done basics, we done lifecycle, we done images, we done start, stop, start, unpause, run, ps, exe. So this is an interesting one. Let's pull a docker pull. I think we already have docker pull Ubuntu. So docker exe, it's used to access the shell of a docker. So basically you are getting inside the shell of another container. In this case it is Ubuntu. So we have docker images, we have docker, we have a Ubuntu image. So let's try to run it. Docker run minus it minus d 6 d7. So it's running, and then it's running at bin bash. So let's try to get inside this container using docker exe. So it's the command is docker exe minus it minus d 5a1, and then we say bash. So we say bin bash. So now we are we inside? Okay, let's, I think it's not D. Let's, yeah. So if you see we are inside the running container, which is the Ubuntu container 67 image. It ran and it gave us this container 5a1. So it's running here, and we use docker exe minus it, that is interactive shell, and we use this 5a1, and we entered at the bin bash, and now we are inside 5a1. So we can check that using cat. Let's see etc os release. So we should see Ubuntu. So we are inside now Ubuntu. So we started with Debian, the root Debian, and we ran this container, and we're using docker exe. We entered into docker Ubuntu container. So inside this you can do a whole lot of stuff like update, upgrade, install some things, all those stuff. So let's exiting is the same like in any other Linux. So we said exit, and then we see docker ps, it's still running, and we did this as well, docker exe. Now let's see docker logs for this particular container. We can also check, like for example, the easiest one is docker pull Alpine. It's already there. So docker run -it Alpine. So we're inside Alpine now, so we can check etc OS release. Oh, it's on Alpine, so we can exit this. And I wanted to show you instead of IT, if we put T, it runs. So now if you see docker ps Alpine is there, we can use docker exe -it. The container ID is EC7, and now the command is not bin bash, it will be bin sh. So either we can use sh or bin bash cat etc OS release. So we have this Alpine running. Alright, so now we exit that. So we're done docker exe. Let's see docker logs. Okay, docker ps docker logs for Alpine, which is EC7. What about 5A1? Nothing is running, I think that's why. Yeah, so we'll have to use -f or -n. I think nothing is happening inside. E5A1. -n. Show details. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe it's nothing is running inside this containers, that's why. But you can use docker logs. So we're done docker rename. Similarly, docker rm. So we done that. Docker inspect is the one we need to check now. Docker ps docker inspect EC7. Alright, so we have loads of information here. So EC7 is the container of the Alpine bin bash. It's running now. Okay, running. It paused. No, not dead. P4746 PID. It started at this and finished at here. And this is the image. This is all the path and the name. Restart. Never restarted. Alright, let's restart policies. No restart policy was put. And then a lot of information here. C groups, memory, graph drivers. These are all the overlays. Mount, host name, domain name, path, and the most important thing is this one, that is the IP address, MAC address, and the network, the bridge one, and the MAC ID of this one, and the gateway IP address here, and then this one, they're the same. So that's inspect. You can also do docker attach to a terminal, and kill is the same that we used, and copy is an interesting one. ps. You can also see docker inspect, and there are lots of stuff that we can do here. Help. So we can do size and other stuff, but what I do is EC7. So if I want to get IP number, I just grep and then say IP. I get IP. Instead of IP, I just say IP address, and then it gives me only the IP address. If I want MAC, is it MAC? Yes. So I get the MAC. So you can use the grep along with this thing. Let's see whether restart. What was that? Okay, we can see, oops, yeah, so yeah, maybe res. Alright, you can use grep and check all of it. Docker kill, docker copy. Alright, let's imagine this guy is there. We want to send this huge file into one of our container. Let's imagine we want to send this 123 MB into EC7. For that we use docker cp. So docker cp is interesting one. Just need to use this. So docker cp, so container, two requirements. Okay, one, if you want to copy from the host to the container, and another one is from container to host. So you can use source path, which is our SDSD, and then container path, which is EC7. EC7, and then is it the one? I think I forgot this. Alright, copy command. Alright, source path, and then source path and the space. That's it. Okay, source path, just a space, and then it's successfully copied. So now if you go into docker exe minus it ec7 sh at the root level, so we should get that SDSD is here. Yep, SDSD is here. Alright, so similarly if you want to do the reverse, which is from let's see, touch my file, we get out of this, and then we see docker cp. So container is EC7, and then colon source path is what is that, my file, and space I want it here. Okay, at least not forgotten this. So basically you do docker copy container name colon the source path and the destination to bring anything from inside the container into your host. If you want to do the reverse, which is copy from the host, that is source path here, to the container, so you put the copy the source path here and the container colon and the destination inside the container, and it will go inside the container. Right, so we done copy, we done kill, we done inspect on exe. These are the important one. I think exe and copy are a bit difficult to understand, but once you get a hang of it, you'll be good to go. Alright, now we have this volume. So let's see what's the volume. So we know that inside this inspect command, that is if we inspect EC7 container, so there is a volume information here somewhere. So the volume driver, so volumes from, let's just remember, so where is the volume here, and then we'll come back. So mount point is this one, so volume is null, label is null, so we'll create a volume and check. So for that the command is docker volume dash dash help. So there are 4 commands in docker volume. One is to create a volume, and to inspect the volume, and to list all the volumes, then remove the unused local volume, and then remove one or more volumes. Let's check. So let's docker volume ls, docker volume. So we don't have any volume, so we can create a volume, docker volume create my volume. So now we can say docker volume ls, yeah, that's my volume. So now, so we can inspect this volume, docker volume inspect my volume. Okay, let's check. So it's created just now today, driver, local driver, and the mount point is at varlib docker volume, my volume data options and scope. So and then docker volume ls, so we can use docker volume rm and my name of the volume, that is my volume. So docker volume ls, my volume is deleted. So we'll get to know how to use this docker volume later. We have these commands for, right, create, inspect, ls, prune, and rm, so we can connect some of the volume to the running containers. So like for example, you can use docker ps minus help. So we got this whole lot of stuff we can attach. Also, not in ps, in docker run help, and this has got like hundreds of commands here. So in this one we can use attach. If we go to minus v, yeah, so minus v, we use minus v to bind volume to this particular container. We can also use this is an voluminous one, docker run. We can also put the memory bytes. We can also put like your CPUs, how much CPU you want to put. One CPU, half CPU, two CPU, five CPUs, and also you can use memory like out of 1 MB, 1 GB, you only use 100 MB, or out of 20 GB, maybe 2 GB for this particular container. So that's Docker run, which is a lot of stuff happening here. And then we have alright, Docker. This is the Docker logs and monitoring, so we'll check some of them. So we can see docker ps, we done that. So we done docker ps minus a, which is it shows the running and the stopped containers. So we have one running and 3 stopped containers. So we know docker logs already. Docker logs, you can put EC7, and then something wrong with this command. I don't know, did I forget? 78. Yep. So we have to check ps. Alright, nothing is running there, that's why I think 5a1. Okay, that's alright. So let's check events. I never use this events. So docker events EC7, is something happening? Docker events da, da, da. Alright, we don't know, let's check later. Okay, oh, this is an interesting one. Docker stats. It's going to tell us information about all the running containers and the CPU is using, memory, limit, and input output. These two are nothing is running in this. So oh, I killed my alright, I killed my DigitalOcean thing. Let's see. Docker stats. Yeah, it's still running, but nothing has been used. So that's it. And then port, Docker port. Let's see, what is Docker port? EC7, is it EC7? Alright, it's a port mapping, so usually we use it in any of these things, right? Docker run minus it minus t minus p, so 8080, we can say WordPress. Okay, so we done that. So we have Docker Hub. So this is to search the Docker search, which is here. So instead of going to Docker Hub here, we can search inside the terminal itself, like for example Docker ps. See, we have our WordPress running on port 8080. So let's check it out. What was the IP number? Oh, let's check Docker exe minus IT 5e3 and bash. Okay, this is WordPress. So now if we check top, Apache is running, and then all of those are running. Nginx, don't think so. Docker ps. So now if we use Docker logs 5e3, so it's saying WordPress not found, complete, has been successfully copied, so that's the thing. Now we can say the same thing for Docker events 5e3. Okay, Docker 3 5e3. Yep. So for this one, so there is a root is running, www data for Apache, all these things are running here. So and if you check Docker stats, you'll see some numbers here. So I think this is the 5e3. Use the WordPress which is just installed, so that's the only one which has some activity. Did you use 1%? Alright, you can search Docker search for what is that OpenAI. Let's see, maybe we'll have to, okay, we can search everything from here. Docker search PyTorch, and you can choose any of them. Like if I say Docker pull and this, so it will pull PyTorch. It's gonna take a while, 3 GB, so I'm gonna kill it. Alright, Docker pull we done. Docker login, this is to log into the web-based login. So you put your details here and then it opens in the browser. So also you can push your images, so you can put Docker push, you can say 8067, so it pushes to the docker.io Docker up, and then we can see Docker tag. We already done this, and then Docker logout to logout from your this thing. Okay, this is an interesting one to clean up everything that we have done. So before that, let's see the last 3 command, which is Docker network. Similar to Docker volume, there is a network interface. Alright, I think I'm getting tired. Docker volume, Docker network has got connect, create, disconnect, inspect, ls, prune. So let's see Docker ls. So we have a bridge network, host network, and none network. So we can create a network, like Docker create my network, and then my network is here. and then we can inspect also docker network, inspect my network. So it has got this ID, bridge, subnet, gateway, and all of the other stuff. So we can also check the bridge network. Okay, so if you see bridge network, which has got a lot of information, so there are one container, the two and the three containers connected to this bridge one. I think this is the WordPress one. Let's see, and then let's see docker inspect instead of bridge. Let's see the host one. The host, there are no containers connected. So if we see docker ps 5e3b, yeah, this is the WordPress. So similarly you can do docker network ls. You can remove rm my network, and that's gone. Right, after this, so we can use docker image prune to remove all dangling docker images. So we need to say yes. So it has not done anything because there are no dangling images. So similarly we can do docker container prune yes. So it removed 3 containers which were dangling. So then we can also do similarly for volume prune. We say yes, and there are no dangling volumes. Similarly we can do it for network prune yes, and the ultimate one, which is the docker system prune. This is going to stop all the containers. It's going to remove all stop containers, all networks not used by at least one containers, on all the dangling images and any unused build cache. So in our case there is nothing of that sort, but if we check, all these things are there. Alright, so that's about the maybe 100 plus docker commands from this website, which is Fostech Nix. Thank you very much, Fostech Nix. Very comprehensive one. I have not covered the compose because I'll have to download some other stuff. Thank you very much for staying till now. This is just to test my knowledge about Docker, and thanks.